My mom was somebody that was a very private person and very shy, but on the other hand, she had a whole lot of talent, and she was really, I think, an extraordinary human being. I always was wishing the best for her. She's particularly an extraordinary cartoonist, and I'll let you be the judge of that yourself. She was probably about 85 when that picture was taken. Then what we've got is her mother holding her, and her mother was actually a beauty queen in Montclair, New Jersey. She was called the Belle of Montclair. She married my mom's father, who was Fred Fauché. Her parents had forced her to marry this guy because she was rebellious. They were hoping to settle her down. Really made for a challenging childhood for my mother, and that's a picture of her as a baby on top of her father. My mother, being a cartoonist, decided one time that she started calling her mother Mother Rat. Then she turned him into a cartoon character, and so there you see one of the early Mother Rats sitting in her bed there. Later on, Mother Rat actually became my mother. Then you can see a newer version of her there. Her father was a stockbroker, but he was also a very good amateur photographer. They lived in New York City. He would take them across the street to Central Park and use the two girls, my mother and her sister, as models. So you can see in some of these pictures my mother and her sister as models. Some time ago I asked my mom, would you tell some stories from your childhood via a little picture book? Surprising for me that she used little rats depicting both her and her sister. I hope you'll take the time to read the dialogue. I think they're cute. There's my mom shortly before she got married. She met her husband, George Elliott, at the company that she worked at. He was an executive, an ad executive. So they got married, and I guess 2 years later, I was born. That's me in the tub there, 24. And there's me with my mom. I was born in Chicago because he had been transferred. A year and a half after I was born, my sister was born. I regret to say this, but I really could not stand that little girl. And I was just a little kid myself. I feel bad about that. I really feel bad because it made a lot of trouble for my parents. Picture of my sister crying, it's not a surprise for me why she's probably crying. The first children's book my mother ever did was done in 1957. She was using her life experience to make a children's book. That's me, named Charlie, and there's my sister Ann in there. Gives you kind of a flavor of parenting and the childhood and the family that they were given to raise. It was very challenging for my parents. I would have liked to have been a better kid, but so be it, huh? Well, unfortunately for her and all of us, my father died when I was 5. A guy named Larry Washburn, who she knew a little bit, stepped in and pretty rapidly came on board, and they got married and had a son with her. In her cartoons, she has him as Mother Rat's husband, who she names Harry Rat. That's a picture of Harry there. There's a picture of my mom in the 1960s with her son, my half-brother, Jim Washburn. There's a picture of us with the kids, and there's a picture of my mom with her 2 daughters 30 years later. And last one's a picture of my mom probably in her 70s. And there's my mom and Larry Washburn up in Washington, D.C., where they were. So I covered 50 years there very, very quickly. What was my mother doing in those 50 years? She was a housewife. She never worked again. She raised us children. After the children left, you could largely find her laying on her bed reading, or laying on her bed drawing pictures. And she had a few friends that she would chat with on the phone quite a bit and kind of be supportive of. But the amazing thing about my mom was she was always into trying to better herself by reading either the Bible or self-help books. I think she was reading Dale Carnegie, How to Change Your Life, when she was in her 20s. She used to, way before everyone else got in, sit there in front of the TV doing yoga postures, following the instructor. And then there was other things, spiritual things that she would do. One of the things that I'm most happy about is at some point I connected with my mom and I said, how about if I do a homemade Christmas card and you do the illustrations for it? That moved on to her eventually doing these little yellow, you can see this little yellow guy, he called them Hathers, and they exist in the 8th dimension. She designed them for me, and there's a page there you can see with the little Hathors there and the cat. Eventually I took her little Hathors and put it in with my own art, which I use pictures of food, make collages. The little yellow guys in there is her contribution. It's nice for me, even though she's been gone for 4 years, she still lives on for me as I use her artwork to interact with my own artwork, particularly in the Christmas cards. So I think my mother's cartoonist ability was as good as anything you would see in the newspapers. I tried at some point to see if I could get employment for her, but I'm not very aggressive. We sort of lacked the marketing. Few people out there that knew about her artwork, which I think is unfortunate because I think it's really great. So I'd really like for you to just take some time and just see if you can appreciate these cartoons that she did. The last 2 or 3 years of my mother's life, she moved down so she could be near me and my brother, and it really gave me a chance to get to know my mother in a way that I had never gotten to know her before. And I really decided that I was going to really make life as good for her as I could, and if she wanted something, I would be there in her dying period of time. The reality is, she was going fine. I really thought she might live to be 100. I'm really grateful that the nurse took this picture of myself and my sister, my mom, just 2 weeks before my mom died. I think it's amazing how vital my mom looks. Whatever spirit is an impressive being. I gotta say, I do miss my mom. All that time we spent together watching TV and eating meals, taking her around, just made it a tremendous loss for me when she did go. Appreciate the opportunity to have made this. It's kind of healed the part of me that misses her.